off your mask.
Okay.
はい、じゃあどうぞ写真撮る方。写真必要な方、よければ手を挙げてください。
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Foreign Correspondent Club of Japan. My name is Pio D'Emilia. I'm moderating today our guest speaker, His Excellency Sabr Yessimbekov, Ambassador and Plenipotentiary of the Republic of Kazakhstan to Japan. Ambassador is not a newcomer in Japan. He speaks fluently Japanese. He studied here in his first coming in Japan. And this is his second assignment here in Japan. So he could do this even in Japanese, but our tradition is to do it in English, so we'll do it in English. As you know, the Kazakhstan has now went a little bit out of the international media attention, but in the last weeks it was top and breaking news for several days. Luckily enough, things seems to be calmed down. It didn't develop into what many people thought it could inflame more. And we are now very happy to hear directly from our guest, the ambassador, what is going on right now, what is the solution that the government has found, what happened with the Russian troops, and all the other questions that we will have the chance to ask. So, Mr. Ambassador, please start your speech, and may I remind everybody please to turn off your mobiles or put it into silent mode, something like that. Okay, thank you.
皆さんこんにちは。よろしくお願いいたします。Dear friends, thank you for joining me here. Let me start with a brief information on what's happened in Kazakhstan in the first week of 2022, and then I would propose to see the short documentary, just a few minutes, on the riots that have recently took place in Kazakhstan. First of all, as you all know, the protests in Western Kazakhstan were of the economic nature. On January 2nd, 2022, several demonstrations took place in the Western Kazakhstan. There was a peaceful protest to reduce the liquefied gas prices. All the demands expressed by the citizens during this peaceful demonstration were heard and resolved by the states. Decisions were made to reduce gas prices, and a moratorium imposed on price increases for socially important food products, fuels, and utilities. It is very important to note that there were no clashes at that time between the police forces and civilians. the police did not use any force. All persons detained during that demonstration were released. Unfortunately, peaceful demonstrations in Almaty, it's a former capital, have been hijacked by terrorist groups trained outside the country, as we believe, and they seek to undermine law and order in the country. These criminal activities led to riots, robberies, rapes, and mass violence. Almaty was attacked by well-trained armed groups and terrorists. They destroyed administrative buildings and military facilities, seized the airport, and took the hostages, foreign passengers, and cargo planes. This indicates a very high level of readiness and coordination of the actions of the criminals. On January 6th, the President Tokayev ordered to launch a counter-terrorism operation to deal with the national security threats, to protect country's sovereignty and integrity, protect people's lives and property of citizens. The President ordered law enforcement agencies to act promptly and without hesitation. Due to sharp aggravation of the situation, the President Tokayev assumed the post of chairman of Security Council of Kazakhstan, and then to prevent the social unrest, the President dissolved the government and declared a state of emergency. Unfortunately, there were human casualties, both among the law enforcement personnel and among the civil population. It is a huge tragedy for all of us and for entire people of Kazakhstan. Now I would ask you to see the video. I will comment on some coverings. That was on the third day of the demonstrations in Almaty.
This is Almaty, yeah?
Yes, this is Almaty. Cars, there's ambulances.
Стрельнули с оружия в солдата. Кровь идет у него.
This is the footage from other city, I think from Taldykurgan, it's a Almaty region. This is how the looting started, on the fourth day.
Солдат, что ли, это?
This military personnel was beaten.
В руках. Ой. О, свет выключи везде. Везде выключи свет.
А здесь вот что их ждет. Порш, смотрите, заведен венчик, велики.
Well, I think it's enough. I think that's more like 2-3 minutes, but I'm ready to continue. You can switch off. Okay. So I'm from Almaty myself. So for me, of course, that's a big concern where my relatives were, and so because there were no any connection with for 2 days, no connection with the telephone line or internet. So it's of course a big pain for me myself just to see that kind of pictures. By the latest data, 19 law enforcement officers were killed by the alleged protesters, and by this day, 227 deaths has been confirmed, and some of them include armed criminals involved in the terrorist attack. More than 4,500 people injured during the riots across the country. The number of civilian deaths as a result of the unrest is still being calculated. And financial damage as a result of looting and riots is estimated now more than $200 million and still counting. In this situation, Kazakhstan was compelled to seek help from the Collective Security Treaty Organization, which has deployed a peacekeeping force, totally approximately 2,500 personnel to assist in the stabilization of the situation. The legal framework for deployment of CSTO, collective peacekeeping forces, is based on the certain articles, Article 2 and number 4 of the Treaty on Collective Security, and the agreement of the peacekeeping activities, and military assistance request by the President of Kazakhstan. The mandate of the peacekeepers included the guarding of strategic facilities and providing cover-up for Kazakhstan forces. On January 19, CSTO troops completed the peacekeeping mission in Kazakhstan and then left the territory of the country. And there is no now any foreign troops now in Kazakhstan. So CSTO troops stayed for 1 week. They help in securing the strategical assets, such as power station, Baikonur space launching site, and other important facilities. I would say again, I would like to say that the all peaceful protesters were not subjected to any prosecution, and in this difficult time, people of Kazakhstan have shown their unity and citizens support the measures taken by the President Tokayev to restore peace. And we are defending our democracy and constitution from fundamentalists and terrorists. There are many lessons to learn. The tragic events in our country highlight the problems of democracy and human rights in a very new way. As stated by the President Tokayev, only law and order can guarantee the well-being of all civilized states, including Kazakhstan. As Almaty tragedy demonstrates, violence and anarchy, unlawful actions of criminals and terrorists not only undermine the security of civilians, but also lead to violation of fundamental human rights. And there is a lot of work ahead and lessons to be learned from these tragic events. In these difficult times, we expect our partners to support us, and in the world with the new risks and challenges, this situation could take place anywhere. And I'm here to extend my gratitude for all these Japanese institutions and government official and the corporate sector of Japan who expressed their condolences to the embassy, to the Kazakhstan embassy for the victims of this unrest. Now the investigation is under process, so we expect in just in the coming weeks, so the first results of this investigations will be then published, and I'll be happy to inform you about the first results of such investigation. On January 11, the President Tokayev delivered an address to the special session of the parliament. So the new government was appointed. Also, the president set a number of tasks for reforms of country law enforcement agencies to the new prime minister. All measures to reform and strengthen law enforcement agencies and the armed forces are aimed at protecting the population from internal and external threats. And the president also emphasized the importance of strengthening the border service and intensifying work to counter religious extremism. I would like to say that democracy is a work in progress, and we continue learning from that experience. We are defending our democracy and constitution from the radicals and terrorists. Kazakhstan remains committed to the protection of the fundamental human rights and freedoms. And we have a long way to building our state from scratch now. And we'll do all it takes to protect our democracy and our people from any unlawful interference, both at home and abroad. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ambassador. Before giving the questions to the floor, let me just make a short comment on the showing of these videos. Of course, this is the videos that you, as representative of your government, wants to show, but we are all aware of other videos where we saw the army and the police shooting citizens. Now, you said that this was caused by some extremists that infiltrated, whatever. But personally, I wasn't there, but I think that everybody may have doubts that those people were all terrorists. I think there are 170 people altogether that were killed during those clashes. Mm-hmm. Could you tell us if you see something wrong in the management of the public order? I mean, shooting to your own people is not exactly what democracy should do.
That's a good question. So this is that I think all the people of Kazakhstan and of course the world community put that question to the to government and the actions of the government were rightful, and to what extent they were, let's say, right. So I would say we need to clearly distinguish between the protesters and the terrorists. The terrorists were not speakers. They had a very clear plan to act. They used their own means of communication, including tank radios, including other means of communication, and all the actions indicate a well-prepared operation to carry out a coup d'état. As I have mentioned, so the peaceful demonstrations have started in the Western Kazakhstan, and they were based on the very rightful, let's say, social demand, and based on the outcry of the increase of the liquefied gas pricing.
Yeah.
Different from, let's say, from what happened in Almaty. So all protesters in the Western Kazakhstan has been very well structurally organized, led by the, let's say, initiative, let's say, groups based upon the, let's say, leaders from the industries. I would say they were more organized, and they didn't let the demonstrations turn into the riot. And this is what happened in the Western Kazakhstan, in the Northern Kazakhstan, and other big cities. In all these places where demand has been answered, so the demonstration has been peacefully dissolved in 2 days, because all the demands has been then heard and rightfully answered. But what happened in Almaty, as I've said, so the demonstration turned into the violence, and as you see, so those from the let's say demonstrators who had weapons. So and if police see them, on how would you react to that situation?
Well, yeah, it's okay. I mean, from our point of view of Europeans, for example, shooting on the people is the very, very last resort. But when you said that an investigation is going on, you mean only the investigation against those that caused the violent clashes, or are you aware of any public investigation also on those that gave specific orders to shoot?
I think the ongoing investigation will include the whole range of all activities during that day.
So including the police,
including the let's say action of the law enforcement, let's say representatives. And here I would like to say that we are not police state. I think this is very clear. So I think so. I want everybody to understand that very fact. But unfortunately, this well-staged and clearly planned attack of terrorist group against government agencies and civilians was a real shock for the whole society, which was not prepared at all for such a large-scale aggravation of the events. I emphasize that Kazakhstan faced the greatest shock in its modern history. There've been no such an attack in such a scale in the entire post-Soviet, let's say, says. But of course, we need to thoroughly and deeply investigate what happened, and draw serious lessons so that the tragedy does not happen again. We do not deny that the authorities themselves are to blame for this situation. Corruption in law enforcement, ineffective law enforcement, unfair distribution of economic benefits, unemployment, poor social protection are all factors which led to this explosion of discontent and aggression.
Thank you very much. Okay, let's start questions from the floor. Those please state your name and affiliation if you have one. Thank you.
Kobayashi, freelance. Your Excellency, welcome here. We are very glad to welcome you here.
Thank you.
My question is on the stability of your country and the people. Your country is enormously rich in mineral resources. And for the stability, for the people, how you are going to use these enormous resources. Sometimes you see the enormous riches will become the source of conflict, confrontation. And to evade that, what kind of measures you are going to take? Thank you.
This is a very good question. As I've said, we all understand that there were some, let's say, discrepancies in the distribution of the economic benefits, and this is exactly what the President Tokayev reforms is aimed for. As President declared in the beginning of this week, let's say some economic structural reforms and political reforms are subject to, let's say, further work, very quick work. I would say. The President has declared that the new so-called Kazakh Future Fund will be then opened with the all, let's say, so the all, as you said, the mining companies and oil and gas companies should donate to that fund in order to restore the what has been damaged, and also this fund will be used for the, let's say, social demand of the people. Right today, the President has a big meeting with the Kazakh industrialists and bank representatives, where I think some measures of this kind will be then announced and done. To that respect, let's say the big Kazakh mineral sector representatives has already started donating some of these, let's say, big funds to that entity. And I think this is one of the reason of one of the examples on how this problem would be then addressed. And I think also there'll be some structural, let's say, reform and decision on the very economic agenda, on how the government will address the social and other demands of the society. And this is the core of the President Tokayev's reform, so-called hearing state. So I think we have to solve, let's say, all this discrepancies which has been done in the well before, and it's a good lesson for all of us.
Thank you.
Takeshi Kawasaki, freelancing. There is, according to foreign media, international media, there is a strong criticism on former President Nazarbayev. Would you comment on that, please?
I think I'm based on the, so my conclusion is based not on the foreign media reports, but the feeling of the but the feelings and my private feeling on the President Nazarbayev's let's say actions and what has been done and what has to be done, I would say. Well, the president, first president Nazarbayev remains as a father of the post-Soviet Kazakhstan independence. This is the true, and this is what everybody has to admit. And we all see what, let's say, positive things has been done through, let's say, all these years of Kazakh independence, especially in the 90s and in the beginning of 2000. I think that the judgment of the people should be based on the real achievements. And the judgment of the people and the world community should be based on the, let's say, on the current lessons and the current investigation. So I think it's too far from to blame they purely blame the first president what has happened and to base somebody's decision on what has happened now. I mean, we should see the results. We should see. I think we have to live through this, and I think the time would tell us and show us what has happened and what is the real place of the first president. I would just say, my private, let's say, feeling about the president, because I was born in the Soviet time, and I've been witnessing the declaration of the new Kazakhstan in the 1991. Yeah. For me, so the President Nazarbayev is a very great person who in fact opened the way for the Kazakhstan development in a very hard time, I would say.
Well, Nazarbayev, if I'm not wrong, was also part of the Soviet government to taking over Kazakhstan before.
He was.
So he's one of the very few that
I think he's the last
inherited.
I think he's the last one in the former Soviet states. He's the last one who has all this non-disturbed line from this of knowledge and experience from the Soviet period until now.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, go ahead. May I remind you all, please, that it's okay to take pictures, although the pictures should be taken at the beginning, but please don't use flashes while the speaker is talking. You can choose, John Kempong.
Thank you very much. My name is Matsuo from Digipress, Japanese newswire service. My question is, what is a terrorist? Because for 30 years from the independence, I think most of Japanese didn't hear small rumors about the terrorists in Kazakhstan. We think in the Central Asia, 5 countries you have. Tajikistan has a civil war, and the Kyrgyz has several violences in the political scenes. But Kazakhstan keeps the peaceful society where the terrorists were in Kazakhstan. What purpose of them? Of course, the investigation now is going, but you have some information. If you have some information, please give us some of that. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Matso. I think this is exactly that question that many Kazakhstanis are just asking themselves. Because we, as you rightly mentioned, we are the part of the Central Asia where other brotherly states has experienced in some forms of some this kind of the events that just happened in Kazakhstan. In my view, you are not immune. Not any state is immune against the, let's say, the terrorism and the terror attacks. I myself, do not know about any, let's say, I have no information about where this terrorists, that came from. But by the, let's say, by the first results of the investigation, some of the terrorists was from other states with the foreign passports. But I would say, as our president stated, there were some indications that some of this so-called terrorist group has been prepared and trained in Kazakhstan. And the problem that the law enforcement agency, especially the Committee for National Security, former KGB, so they even if they're aware of what was happening, so they didn't inform in the right way the president. I think this is one of the reasons why the current, let's say, officials of the State Secured Committee was arrested and put under investigation. And this is and the fact, I know this is just just blows everybody's mind. So how could it be possible that just, as we used to say, on the nose of the government, there were some let's say groups, military groups, training and doing what? So, as a fact, as you may know, so in Almaty, so the mobs and the protesters, they seized the armed, let's say, armed cell of the Almaty State Security Committee, and it's impossible. I myself served in the Soviet Army. I served in the border troops under KGB, so I know what this armed cell is look like. It's just it's a fortress. You cannot easily go there and took the weapon. I mean, it's impossible practically. So there are some, let's say, there were few, let's say, let's say conclusions and the guests in the Kazakh press, and even said by the Kazakh officials about the treason, about some unlawful acts of the Kazakh law enforcement, let's say, representatives on a very high level. Well, especially in Almaty. So now the investigation should answer this.
May I just add in the last question? There were reports that some of those people you're mentioning could come from Syria. Can you confirm this?
I cannot confirm it because I have no any let's say data on that course.
Thank you. Khaldun.
Thank you, Ambassador, for coming. My name is Khaldun Azhari. I'm a correspondent for Arab News Japan in the Arabic countries and Panoramic News. My question is about do you think there are any international movements or countries behind these demonstrations or behind this violence? And you mentioned the word extremist. Could you please elaborate what you mean by extremist? And there was Arab Spring in some Arab countries, including Syria, Libya, and Yemen, and they turned into same like destruction. Do you think some international forces or center want Kazakhstan to face the same destiny? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your question. Well, I will start from the end. So I don't think that let's say what happened in Kazakhstan has some, let's say, has some developments in the way of what Arab Spring has showed all over the world. But I think I see the one big similarity. So it's let's say as a base for this unrest and for what has happened, I would mention the unsolved social issues. I think that's true, because the people will not go on street if they were happy. So I think that, and I'm pretty much sure, and I will defend it anyway, that people have right to express their opinion. And will, and I think that's, and the people had right to go on streets. Of course, I mean, this is what government have stated. Whether the demonstration is peaceful, you know, nobody can let's say can go against them. Well, especially on the government behalf, and this is what happened in Western Kazakhstan, where the demonstration were peaceful with a certain, let's say, demands. I think there were no problem, and the government could only welcome that kind of dialogue. But what happened in Almaty and in other several cities, the mobs has gained the momentum, and they turned the, let's say, the you know, the people's let's say very natural dissatisfaction into the very cruel actions. I mean, this is what you know can easily happen in any states. So I think we should learn that lesson and should answer that question: why the law enforcement in Kazakhstan has missed that very moment when it turned into the very cruel and mob actions. And regarding terrorists, as you say, I'm here not using especially words like, let's say, religious extremists or Islamic. I'm far from blaming that let's say any of the existing religious, let's say, groups or terrorist groups in being involved in Kazakhstan events. Let's see. I would say extremists, in my wording, extremists are people who act against the current political order in a very frightening way, bearing weapon and killing other people. So this, what I call them, extremists.
Thank you. I have a question.
So our correspondent from Turkey would understand. If you have fire in the house, and if you have some, you know, if you see some, and you try to let's say, deal with that fire, and you see some looters in your apartment or home, you know, trying to make fire more, what would you do? You will just beat him out of the house, whatever it means. And this is exactly what happened in Kazakhstan. And this is exactly, I mean, what any of us will do. So the definition of democracy and the definition of, let's say, the means, rightful or not rightful, in order to contain the peace, I mean, that's a very, very, very broad discussion. So I'm ready to discuss with the journalists who to put this question on in other way, just to having beer or whatever it is. But I think it's it's the government of Kazakhstan and the government and the people of the law enforcement in Almaty who actually been put on fire and who made that decision, judging by the president board, to stop the violence. I think this is the main thing.
I have a couple of questions from online. These questions come from Giovanni Capanelli, who is an advisor to your central bank, actually, former ADB representative in Astana. Two questions. The first one is, what is the government planning to do to restore investors' confidence? Well, it's from a banker, so. Okay. But the second one, maybe we start with the second one because it links with the last question. Will the announced political reform include the direct elections of local administrators?
Yeah.
This is a long issue, talking about democracy.
I have I'm from the corporate sector. Yeah. In fact, I worked here as a first chargé d'affaires of Kazakhstan in the 90s, and then I've been asked to come back to Kazakhstan to join the corporate sector in oil and gas development. So I very much understand the let's say the concern of the corporate community, and not corporate, about what will happen with the investment also. So I can assure you that, and we received several statements of the Kazakhstan government that we will still remain the, let's say, trustful investment partner. Nobody and nothing has changed. We will follow the international, let's say, agreement and the international commercial, let's say, agreements with all our partners. So nothing has changed, and we are stuck to the, let's say, to our preliminary, let's say, taken duties. I mean, we will still be welcoming all our international partners to continue the, let's say, work in Kazakhstan, in corporate and government sector. As for the second question, yes, the political reforms. This is what is in the core of the President Tokayev's, let's say, program of reforms, and one of this is the let's say democratically elected local government. This is the core issue, and this is what let's say our country will do in the very nearest future. But it can be done in just in a very brief, let's say, moment. I think by the next election, I think so. As a first step for the political reform and democratization, the overall election, the general election of the local governments would be in place.
Thank you very much. Any other question from the floor? Oh, no, the gentleman here.
Thank you so much for your speech. Naomichi Nohara from NHK. I have two short questions. The first one is about diplomacy. I think Russia played some role, or maybe important role, during this riot. So do you think the diplomatic importance of Russia will change after experiencing this riot between the relationship with Kazakhstan? And the second question is about the internal aspect of this unrest. If your analysis is correct and there was any intervention or influence from outside the country by such as terrorists also, even for them, it is not easy to intervene without any demand or someone's help from inside the country. So what could be such, if your analysis is correct, of course it is under the investigation, but what could be the such internal aspect?
Thank you. Good question.
Thank you.
By the way, I think, well, with the diplomatic efforts, on the diplomatic stuff, I think we are very grateful for all those neighboring countries who offered their help in let's say, helping Kazakhstan to deal with that situation. And I think Russian Federation as a good neighbor, first, and the second as a member of Collective Security Treaty organization, was the first to offer its help. And well, I'm no specialist in the Russia, let's say, Kazakhstan relations, but of course, like, to my own opinion, Russia once again, let's say, proved its, let's say, strategic partnership role with Kazakhstan in helping Kazakhstan within the Security Treaty organization to deal with the current situation. I think that's I think that's a true. About your second question, what would be the, let's say, any well, tell me, am I right in understanding you? Would it be any influence if Kazakhstan will find any international, let's say, influence or international participation in Kazakhstan events? I don't know. I mean, that's well. I will wait for the investigation, of course. But again, I would say we have received all the support from the neighboring states in Kazakhstan, of Kazakhstan. We have received, let's say, the good words from our eastern neighbor, China. We have received the words of support from Turkey, from all the states, I think, officially. So there were official position of officially, let's say, government that they are supporting Kazakhstan. If there will be any, let's say, indications that some of the, let's say, groups abroad has participated in the Kazakhstan tragic events, I think then, well, the government will, let's say, consultate with that countries which would be probably involved in that regard. So.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Maybe the last question there. Yes. We are running out of time, sir.
Thank you, Ambassador. I'm from Japanese newspaper Asahi Shimbun. My name is Sato. Nice to meet you. And my question is very brief. And did you see any impact or damage to the economic relationship with Japan? Or if you saw such kind of damage, how you will restore the damage? Thank you.
Thank you. So I was going to talk about this. Well, so as an ambassador of Kazakhstan to Japan, of course, I'm very aware of let's say of what is happening. I mean, in general, in the Kazakhstan-Japan relations. So I don't see any let's say harm to the economic relations between Kazakhstan and Japan. Moreover, I would say that when the security forces, the rapid forces of the Security Treaty Organization were deployed in Kazakhstan, some of the troops, including Kazakh troops, were stationed near the strategic objects of the Kazakhstan Japanese companies as well, including the uranium, I would say, well, production facilities. So I mean this is a clear example on how important the let's say, the relations and how responsible is the actions of the Kazakh government towards, let's say, our relations. So I don't see any let's say disturbances in our relations in both in economic and political ties. Moreover, I would say that next week we will have the 30th anniversary of establishment of the Kazakh-Japan diplomatic relations. I think we all, of course, cherish this good deed, and I'm here to again to stress all the efforts of the Japanese government and the Japanese people to strengthen the relations between two states, including the humanitarian aspect, including the economic issues, and political support from Japan to Kazakhstan through all these years.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. We are now reaching the time. Let me, you have been very sincere, very frank with us today. Could I ask a very direct questions? I mean, in Kazakhstan, the institutional transition has been done already. It's done, we can say, from Nazarbayev to Tokayev. But the political one is already finished, the process. I mean, how much power does Nazarbayev still hold? If you get a phone call from him or from Tokayev, who would you follow?
I would follow my president,
okay.
Tokayev, of course, because he is my president. He's the one who appointed me.
Okay.
I mean, yeah. No, to tell the truth, I would say so. As President Nazarbayev was stated 2 days ago, he is now on a pension from the year 2019. He has nothing to do with the current, let's say, power distribution in Kazakhstan. Even during these days, all what was left, let's say, his chairmanship in the Security Council, his chairmanship in the ruling party, has been all transferred to the current president. So, in the broader terms, I think, well, politically, it's now 100% has been transferred to the President Tokayev.
You speak very well Japanese. Could we define him like Yami Shogun?
Yami Shogun, yes. Yami Shogun, I would say he made the President Nazarbayev made the Hamakudari now, so he's now having good
Thank
press,
you very much.
I wish him well.
Thank you very much. What is the situation for the journalists going to Kazakhstan? There are some people who may want to go there. Is it possible now to have a visa?
I think the Kazakhstan now experience is a spike in the Omicron. I mean, and it's a record number of the people who has fall ill. I think in the coming weeks, I think it'd be not probably, let's say, it's not impossible, but I think I would rather stay at home. It's not because of any unrest. No, you can travel, safely, and moreover, you don't need visas to go to Kazakhstan. But maybe now you need some probably papers that from the health security organization, so far so on. But I think if somebody of the journalists want to cover Kazakhstan, you are welcome. And as an embassy, we will try to help you.
Thank you very much.
In getting.
Ambassador, usually we give a membership, honorary membership, but the staff that is issuing it this week is in quarantine.
Okay.
So we will wait.
Okay.
And we will issue it at the embassy.
No problem. Yes,
Thank you very much.
Then I think it's a tradition here to sign the guest book here. Yes. So when I was not prepared to it, but the star has asked me to do this. So what I did, I wrote the old Buddhist saying. It's Goko Yama or Utsusu. if you know what it means, I would like to say this is very my heart feelings that the fools can move mountains. I think me is a fool here, so I'm trying to fool this, to push back these big mountains with the help of you and with the help of the Foreign Correspondent Club.
Thank you very much, Ambassador.